Well, hello friends. This morning we are making a delicious biscuit, egg and cheese biscuit. We are deciding that it's going to be one of our meals that we make, and it was a breakfast. I decided when I made my dedication to do this YouTube channel that I would record whatever meal I could with a goal to not eat out at all for as long as possible, and we've been doing fairly well at that. I was gifted a fast food meal the other day by someone, but we are trying to cut back on that, and I hope that maybe you could do the same as well, to eat whole foods. It just came out recently that there is more of a focus on whole foods actually being really good for us. I don't think a lot of us are surprised, but maybe some of us are. It's not a huge deal, but I think it's good to put in your body some things to help you grow healthy and strong. For my kids, and of course, age well and stay healthy is going to help us live long and fruitful lives. So again, we're making biscuits, egg and cheese here. Really simple meal, but a breakfast meal. So I find it so interesting to see different people make biscuits. I do not like the biscuits unless they are crunchy on the outside, moist and soft on the inside, and a lot of butter. And I've had a lot of biscuits, but this recipe that I did was really good, almost one of the best I've ever had. So we're going to be sticking with that. You got to have layers, and the best way to get that is to make sure that you've got cold butter, that you're folding it a few times and before you roll it out and do the final cut on the biscuit. Of course, you cut the biscuit just one stamp in, you take it up, you don't turn it. If you turn it, you cut the sides from being able to release the air and rise. So here I am putting the dry ingredients first. You're going to make sure you whisk them in. You don't want a chunk of baking soda in there or baking powder. And then you're going to add the flour and cut it in. Now, I did not bring my flour cutter, my dough cutter that my husband got me, but that's all right. We work with what we've got because we're at grandma's. So we're usually traveling in my family. We're usually getting things done all day. And that's a real big blessing to be able to help and be there for others and still do the things we need to do as well. Now, the one who taught me to do biscuits was not necessarily the one who raised me, and that's what I find so interesting about cooking. Sometimes you start off as a great cook. You have all the teaching and all the help. Then you go through a little bit of time where you maybe don't cook as much, and you come back to it and some of the things are different. It's maybe more difficult. At least that happened for me. And I had to go back and kind of relearn some things. I didn't really feel like it was something that I remembered as well. So when I was maybe about 10 years ago, when my daughter was younger, I watched Curious George. Yep, Curious George. And Curious George had a scientist friend. She said that cooking was like science. If you don't follow the instructions and put the ingredients in just the way it's calling for, you might not have the best result. And since then, I've tried a little bit harder to follow the recipe. Depending on the situation, baking is a very important time to follow the recipe. So with these biscuits here, we are following the recipe. I don't have my dough cutter in this situation, but I do have forks and I do have hands. My grandma Exford always said that your hands are your best tool for cooking, and I really love that. We don't use our hands for everything, but we certainly use them at the end of these biscuits. So I wanted to show you guys that the flour itself and the butter, you want it to get kind of crumbly, almost a bunch of little tiny circles, and we were getting really close with that even without the dough hook, so I went with it. With the dough hook you get the best result in my opinion. the dough cutter rather. So then we finished up with a little bit of milk, and I like to make sure I only add a little at a time. Sometimes, just depending on so many factors, you can add too much and then it just becomes a different situation, more of a drop biscuit than a real biscuit. It's definitely true that we eat a lot of breakfast for dinner in our home, and often we will have something really good like pancakes and eggs, but I usually don't make biscuits for dinner. After I made these biscuits, and after we had some in the afternoon just to test them out, everyone loved them. I almost ate them for dinner this night, but we decided it was better to have them for breakfast the next morning. Now, the biscuits get eaten throughout the day, so I also felt that was okay to show you guys in this way, because we really did spread them out over about a daytime. We made a double batch, and that was just the perfect amount for my grandmother to have a few and all of us to eat our breakfast the next day. So we rolled it out with something a little strange, a cup. Hey, why not? We were just short on things, but I always feel like really empowered when I can use pretty much anything as a tool. Even though I don't have the exact tool, we can use something to replace it. It's one of my favorite things when you make something and everyone, as soon as it gets done, gets so excited. They all ask for some and they all enjoy it. It's just something really fun to experience. So if you haven't been able to experience that, I hope you get to and you find a good recipe. Maybe this is the one where everyone's just going to really like it. Anything warm with butter on it sometimes for me is what really works. So these biscuits we made 2 batches and ended up cooking, I would say, about 20 biscuits. They weren't very thick, but next time we make them, we're going to make them thicker for sure. Something so satisfying about the biscuits going on the pan. It just took a lot of work to make them, but then they're done. Hooray. So we baked them while we were getting some other things done that day, and I knew the next morning we were going to have biscuits ready to go, so that was great as well. So in the morning the next day, we made some eggs. My usual way of making eggs, cracking them in the pan and scrambling them in the pan. And then some people added some meat to their egg and cheese, and some people just had egg and cheese on a biscuit. I wrapped them all in aluminum foil, and we headed out the door that morning for our busy morning. A hot meal in the car on our cold way to the gym. So we are going to wrap these biscuits with one hand while we're recording. But that's it. Everyone enjoyed it. We had our warm breakfast, and I hope you have a blessed day. See you tomorrow.